I step out of the rideshare, my shoulders finally relaxing after the 3-hour flight from Seattle. The afternoon sun warms my face as I tighten my grip on the gift bag containing a silk scarf for Mom Robin's egg blue, her favorite color. My other hand clutches my laptop bag with the contracts for the $2.3 million marketing deal I just closed. I can't wait to tell everyone. My smile freezes mid-formation. 15 black garbage bags stand in perfect formation at our front gate like silent sentinels. Not the small kitchen kind, the industrial-strength contractor bags, bulging and tied with precision. Behind them, my mother and 3 siblings form a human wall on our front lawn. Mom's arms are crossed, her chin lifted slightly in that way that always made my stomach tighten as a child. Marcus, Elise, and Darren flank her like loyal lieutenants. Mrs. Peterson across the street has stopped deadheading her roses to watch. The Millers have paused their car washing. My family has always been private about our conflicts. This public display means something catastrophic. What's going on? I ask, my voice sounding distant to my own ears. Mom's face remains perfectly composed. Kendra, you're 26. It's time to be on your own, she announces with the same tone she might use to comment on the weather forecast. The bags contain your things. I blink rapidly, the significance of the scene taking seconds to process. The contract in my bag, the one that would finally prove my worth to them, suddenly feels weightless against the weight of this moment. After Dad died when I was 8, his will split ownership of our family home equally among us all, though Mom retained the deed. I remember sitting in Mr. Caldwell's office, swinging my legs on the too-tall chair as he explained I owned 1/5 of our house. My siblings never let me forget how they all moved out by 23, starting real adult lives while I lingered at home. Never mind that I pay more than my share of utilities and property taxes. Just last week before my Seattle trip, Mom had been uncharacteristically distracted when I mentioned my potential promotion. Now I understand why this had been in motion for weeks. Why now? Why like this? I ask, my voice steadier than I feel. You couldn't have given me notice? Marcus steps forward, hands in his pockets like he's about to deliver reasonable news. It's to teach you responsibility, Kendra. You need this push. Mom sighs as if I'm being deliberately obtuse. The house is sold. The new owners want immediate possession. 5. The world tilts slightly. Sold? Without consulting me? I'm a legal co-owner. My voice has found a new steadiness I didn't know I possessed. The contract in my bag feels heavy again, but differently, like armor rather than proof. You're being dramatic, Mom says. We've discussed this for months. Not with me, you haven't. My siblings avoid eye contact, suddenly fascinated by the hedges, the sky, their shoes anywhere but my face. Mom purses her lips, the faintest wrinkle of annoyance appearing between her eyebrows. Your share of the proceeds will be reduced, of course, she says. You've stayed much longer than the others. We've calculated the difference in rent you should have been paying all these years. The full scope of what's happening crashes over me in waves. My home, gone. My inheritance, diminished. My family support, non-existent. All while I was working to close the biggest deal of my career. I walk to the bags, opening the nearest one. My winter sweaters. The next contains books. The third, shoes, and I pull it out the silk scarf I bought for Mom, crumpled between my worn running shoes and bathroom cleaning supplies. She must have gone through my suitcase while I was showering this morning. I fold the scarf carefully and place it in my pocket. Something in me shifts, like a bone setting after a break. The pain is present but clarifying. I'll need to make several trips, I say, no longer asking permission but stating fact. I'll have everything cleared by sunset. The confidence in my voice surprises even me. I'm halfway through loading the third garbage bag when a folded paper slips from between 2 photo albums. The glossy cardstock lands face up on the damp sidewalk. Not just any paper, a real estate listing. For my house. Our house. I pick it up with fingers that suddenly feel numb. The listing date reads 2 months ago. 2 months. While I was pulling 60-hour weeks, while I was landing the Seattle account, while I was dutifully paying my share of property taxes, they were photographing my bedroom. I lean against my car, the metal hot against my back in the afternoon Sunday. Mom's recent distraction crystallizes into something far more calculated. Her casual questions about my work schedule, her unexpected book club meetings that required privacy, the strange man I glimpsed in our living room who was introduced as Carol's husband from church, despite Carol being unmarried. My phone buzzes. A text from Elise appears. Just checking if you need help moving your things. Marcus said you're being difficult about everything. I tap to open our sibling group chat, scrolling back through messages I missed while in Seattle. They've been planning this for weeks. Screenshots of the listing. Discussions about timing. Marcus suggesting they wait until I had that big meeting thing, so I'd be too busy to make a scene. A new text notification slides down from the top of my screen. Harper, any update? My spare room is ready whenever you need it. I squint at the listing photos again. There's my bedroom with the blue comforter I've had since college. My desk with the framed photo of Dad and me at the lake. My closet door ajar, showing the dresses I only wear for client meetings. All photographed while I was working, unaware that strangers were evaluating my personal space. Need any help? Mrs. Peterson calls from across the street, pruning shears still in hand. I'm fine, thank you. I answer automatically, the familiar mask of composure slipping into place. But I'm not fine, far from it. Later that evening, I sit cross-legged on Harper's living room floor, my laptop balanced on my knees. On the screen, my family's social media feeds display a celebration I wasn't invited to. You don't have to look at those, Harper says, setting a mug of tea beside me. It'll just make you feel worse. She's right, but I can't look away. Mom, Marcus, Elise, and Darren at Giovanni's, the expensive Italian restaurant downtown we only visited on special occasions. Champagne glasses raised in a toast. Mom's caption, "New beginnings for everyone." The timestamp shows they went directly from evicting me to celebrating with wine and pasta. Look at this, I say, turning the screen toward Harper. Elise has commented on Mom's post. So glad we finally got full value for the house. The market couldn't be better. Darren's reply appears below. Property values are projected to rise another 15% next quarter, but this was the right time. Couldn't wait any longer. I scroll further and freeze. Marcus has posted photos of the buyers touring the house while I was still in Seattle. Fresh start for everyone, his caption reads. Everyone except me. They planned all of this, I whisper, my voice strange in my ears. They waited until I closed the Seattle deal. They knew I'd be too busy to fight back. So, Harper's couch feels foreign beneath me, the borrowed blanket scratchy against my skin. My throat tightens as reality crashes in. I have nowhere to live. Rental listings on my laptop mock me with their prices. Average one-bedroom apartments in our city, $1,800 per month. My savings account shows a balance that would cover 3 months at most depleted from paying down my student loans while my siblings invested in property and retirement accounts. Tomorrow, I need to update my address with HR. My 6-month probation period after promotion isn't over yet. What will my boss think when I explain my sudden housing crisis? That I'm unstable? Unreliable? Last night, I dreamed I was standing at our front door, key in hand, only to find the locks changed. I woke disoriented in Harper's spare room, momentarily confused about where I was before reality crashed back. It's happened 3 nights in a row now. You should talk to a lawyer, Harper says, breaking into my thoughts. Your name is on the deed, right? They can't just sell without your consent. I don't know anymore, I admit. Mom always handled all the paperwork after Dad died. Harper's boyfriend, a law student, recommended an attorney who offered free consultations. I couldn't afford much more than that. The email from the attorney arrives as I'm brushing my teeth, preparing for another night on Harper's pull-out couch. The legal language is clear even to my exhausted brain. I legally own 20% of the house, regardless of how long I lived there. My signature should have been required for any sale. The reduced payment they're offering violates my inheritance rights. As I stare at the attorney's letter that evening, I wonder, should I demand my full share immediately and cut all ties with my family? Or accept the reduced amount to maintain some relationship with the only family I have? Financial security meant freedom, but was completely severing these bonds worth the battle ahead? The group text from Mom arrives while I'm scrolling through apartment listings at Harper's kitchen table. My phone buzzes against the wood, the screen lighting up with a message sent to every aunt, uncle, and cousin in our family tree. We've been forced to take drastic measures with Kendra. She refused to grow up despite our patience. Sometimes love requires tough decisions. My stomach contracts as if I've been punched. I set the phone down, fingers trembling slightly as I reach for my coffee mug. Harper glances over from where she's washing dishes, her eyebrows raised in question. Mom's rewriting history, I say, my voice surprisingly steady, telling the extended family I forced them to kick me out. Before I can process this, my phone buzzes 3 more times. Aunt Carolyn's annual Thanksgiving invitation rescinded. Uncle Peter's message expressing disappointment. Cousin Rachel suggesting I reflect on my choices. Family of vultures, Harper mutters, drying her hands on a dish towel. I swipe away from the messages, returning to apartment listings, but the screen blurs through sudden tears I refuse to let fall. Thanksgiving alone. Another consequence I hadn't anticipated. That evening, a notification pops up from a local buy-sell group. Mom has listed my childhood bedroom furniture. The oak dresser Dad refinished for my 8th birthday. The bookshelf that held my collection of Nancy Drew mysteries. All priced to move quickly, without so much as offering them to me first. I screenshot the listings and add them to my growing folder labeled Documentation. The apartment manager of yet another dingy studio frowns at his computer screen the next morning. His office smells of cigarettes and cheap air freshener. Outside the window, traffic crawls past on a street lined with fast food restaurants. "There's an issue with your credit check," he says, not meeting my eyes. "That's not possible. My credit score was 780 last month." He turns the monitor so I can see. 5 unpaid utility bills from 3 years ago, all in my name, all tied to an address I don't recognize. "That's not my address," I say, leaning closer. "I've never lived there." 2 hours and 3 phone calls later, I discover Mom opened accounts using my social security number when I was in college. The address belongs to my brother Marcus. The unpaid bills total $3,700. That night, I stare at the ceiling above Harper's pull-out couch, my mind racing through calculations. The inheritance money hasn't arrived. My savings won't cover both security deposits and these sudden debts. The marketing deal's commission won't hit my account for 90 days. My phone chimes with an early morning text from the Seattle client. They need revisions on the implementation timeline. I've been awake for 27 hours straight. The next morning, I arrive at the office with concealer caked under my eyes. My presentation lacks the sharp focus that earned me the Seattle account. My boss notices, asks if everything's all right. I force a smile and blame it on a cold. That night, Harper hands me a leather-bound journal. "For documenting everything," she says. "Legal stuff, conversations, financial records. Organize it now while it's fresh." I stay up until 3, creating timelines and listing financial damages. The journal becomes my anchor in the storm, something solid to grip when my mind spins with exhaustion and betrayal. By the 12th apartment viewing, the units blur together in a depressing parade of water stains and noisy radiators. This latest property manager, James, a man with salt and pepper hair and reading glasses perched on his nose, studies my rental application. "Kendra Whitman," he says, looking up suddenly. "You created that campaign for River City Bikes, didn't you?" I nod, surprised. "That's my brother's shop. Sales jumped 40% after your campaign." He removes his glasses, smiling. "For the woman who saved my brother's company, I might have something not on the market yet." For the first time in weeks, my shoulders relax a fraction. 2 days later, Mom texts asking to meet at Riverside Coffee to talk things through. I agree, against Harper's advice. Maybe there's still something to salvage, some explanation that will make sense of the garbage bags and the credit fraud and the Thanksgiving disinvitations. The coffee shop hums with quiet conversation and the hiss of espresso machines. Mom sits by the window in a cardigan, the exact shade of blue as the scarf I'd brought her from Seattle. She looks smaller somehow, her hands cupped around her mug. "You look tired," she says when I sit down. "I am tired." "We did this because we love you," she says, reaching for my hand across the table. I move mine to my lap. Sometimes children need a push to reach their potential. The words land like stones dropped into still water. Love doesn't put someone's belongings in garbage bags, I say, my voice low but clear. Love doesn't sell their home without warning, and it certainly doesn't open fraudulent accounts in their name. Her face hardens. "You've always been so dramatic. Everything I did was for your own good." Was identity theft for my own good? I needed to help Marcus with his bills. You weren't using your credit for anything important. I stand up, leaving money for my untouched coffee beside the cup. I have to go. "Kendra Marie Whitman, don't you walk away from me." Her voice rises, causing heads to turn. After everything I've done for you. I keep walking, past the curious stares, through the door, into the parking lot. Her voice follows me, calling my name, but for the first time, it doesn't pull me back. In my car, a strange sensation spreads through my chest. Not anger, not hurt, something lighter, almost buoyant. I realize with startling clarity that I no longer crave her approval. The revelation hits me like fresh air after years in a stuffy room. I drive to James's building that evening to sign the lease on a studio apartment. The space is small but clean, with good light and a view of a community garden. Harper and her boyfriend Alex help me move in the following weekend, assembling secondhand furniture until midnight under the glow of paper lanterns. Perfect spot for your photographs, Harper says, pointing to a wall facing the morning light. I unpack the framed landscapes Mom had criticized as amateur and pointless. Harper and Alex hang them carefully, measuring the spaces between, stepping back to ensure they're level. These are really good, Alex says, admiring a sunset shot I'd taken at Lake Champlain. While my family had tossed my belongings into garbage bags, these friends arrange my remaining possessions with the care of museum curators. They fold clothes neatly into drawers, alphabetize my books, position my desk to catch the best light for working. 3 weeks after the eviction, I'm preparing for a follow-up meeting with the Seattle client. Their request for me specifically to lead the project expansion positions me perfectly for the promotion I'd been chasing. I polish my implementation strategy until midnight, reviewing metrics and optimization plans. As I finally close my laptop, my phone lights up with a text from Darren. Mom lost everything. She's going to call you. I stare at the screen, the 12 simple words rewriting the power dynamic once again. I stand before the Seattle executive team, my laser pointer circling the final metrics slide. My professional smile doesn't waver as 14 missed calls from my mother illuminate my phone on the conference table. The device vibrates again, inching toward my presentation notes like an unwelcome guest. With this implementation strategy, we project an additional 18% market penetration by fourth quarter, I say, clicking to the next slide. Our focus groups show particular resonance with the sustainability messaging among your target demographic. The CEO, Barbara Harmon, leans forward in her chair, her silver bob swinging as she nods. These numbers are impressive, Kendra. What about expanding into the Pacific Northwest educational sector? We've been eyeing that market. My heart beats faster, but my voice remains steady. I pull up supplemental slides I'd prepared after 3 sleepless nights in my new studio apartment. The walls still bare, except for a single framed photo of a sunrise. I anticipated that question, I say, revealing market analysis for university partnerships. We could expand the campaign with minimal additional resource allocation. The ROI projections indicate an $800,000 revenue opportunity with just a 12% increase in our current marketing spend. My phone buzzes again. Mom's contact photo, her standing proudly in front of our family home, the home she sold without consulting me, flashes mockingly. I slide the phone face down without breaking eye contact with Barbara. The meeting concludes with handshakes and approvals. As others file out, Barbara touches my elbow. That was seamless work, she says, her voice low. Between us, Janet is retiring next quarter. Digital marketing team lead position will be posted soon. She gives me a meaningful look. You should apply. I'm halfway to the airport when I finally listen to my mother's voicemail, the rental car's unfamiliar dashboard glowing in the gathering dusk. Kendra, it's Mom. There's a family emergency. Call me immediately. Her voice lacks the urgency a true emergency would warrant. I've heard this tone before, the false crisis that demands attention on her schedule. I finish the drive to the airport, check in for my flight, and find a quiet corner in the terminal before returning her call. Finally, she answers on the first ring. I've been trying to reach you all day. I was in meetings, Mom. What's the emergency? A heavy pause follows, then a theatrical sigh. I need to tell you something difficult. The money from the house. It's gone. My fingers tighten around my phone. Gone? All of it? I invested it with Timothy Radcliffe, you remember? Your father's old colleague? He promised 20% returns. Her voice cracks. It was a scam, Kendra. Everyone's money, gone. Marcus and Elise won't even speak to me. The terminal announcements fade to background noise as I process her words. The twisted satisfaction I feel surprises me not at her loss, but at the universe's swift response to her betrayal. "I'm so sorry to hear that," I say, my voice neutral. "I've been thinking," she continues, gaining momentum. "Family sticks together in crisis. I'll need to stay with you temporarily while I sort things out. Just until I get back on my feet." The old Kendra would have immediately rearranged her life to accommodate this request. That Kendra died the day I found my belongings in garbage bags. "Kendra? Are you there?" My silence stretches between us. I watch a young family walk past, the father carrying a sleeping toddler against his shoulder, with such care it makes my throat tight. With my mother waiting for my response, I weighed my options carefully. Should I offer limited financial help with clear boundaries? Or was this the moment to completely disentangle myself from a lifetime of manipulation disguised as family loyalty? "I need to think about this," I finally say. "I'll call you tomorrow." I hang up and immediately text Harper. "Emergency friend meeting tonight?" Her response comes instantly. "Wine and pizza at 8. Bring overnight bag if needed." By midnight, Harper and I have researched every affordable senior housing option within 30 miles. Her laptop screen glows as she creates a spreadsheet, organizing communities by amenities, location, and cost. "This one's close to that park you mentioned she likes," Harper says, pointing to a pleasant-looking complex with hanging flower baskets flanking the entrance, walking distance to grocery, and that church she sometimes attends. I nod, throat tight with unexpected emotion. "It's nice, really nice." The next morning, I meet with Dr. Reynolds, the therapist I started seeing after the eviction. Her office always smells faintly of chamomile and paper. "Your mother's situation is not your emergency," she reminds me, her practical voice grounding. "What boundaries feel right to you?" We craft a response offering support with clear conditions. No living together. No unlimited financial assistance. Family therapy sessions mandatory for continued help. "You're not abandoning her," Dr. Reynolds says as our session ends. "You're offering healthy support while protecting yourself." For mine, I meet my mother at Riverside Cafe, rather than giving her my new address. The look of confusion on her face when I suggest this speaks volumes. The afternoon sun warms my back as I drive home, preparing to finalize the proposal. My phone rings with Darren's number, the first contact from any sibling since the eviction day. "Kendra," he says, his voice uncharacteristically subdued. "Has Mom called you?" "About losing the money?" "Yes." A weighted silence follows. "There's something you should know," he says finally. "We knew about her investment plans before the eviction." My knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. "You knew she was about to lose everything, and you still helped her throw me out?" "It's complicated," he murmurs. "Listen, can I stop by sometime? To talk more? I've been thinking a lot about what happened." Through the phone, I hear the first notes of remorse in his voice. Whether it's genuine or simply the consequence of losing his share of the house money remains to be seen. "I'll think about it," I say, turning onto the street leading to my small apartment, the home that's mine alone. I arrive at Roberta's Cafe 15 minutes early, claiming a corner table on the patio where the morning sun warms the red brick wall behind me. My fingers tap a steady rhythm on the manila folder before me, as I rehearse the words I've practiced with Dr. Reynolds for the past week. The bell above the cafe door chimes. My mother walks in, scanning the patio until she spots me. The small rolling suitcase trailing behind her might as well be a neon sign flashing her intentions. My stomach tightens, but I take a slow breath, remembering Harper's words. "You're not the same person she put out with the garbage." "Kendra, sweetheart." My mother's voice carries across the patio, turning heads. She leans down to kiss my cheek, her perfume the same she's worn since I was a child, momentarily transporting me back to moments when her approval meant everything. "You look wonderful," she says, settling into the chair across from me. "That color really brings out your eyes. I always said green was your shade." I've worn this blouse specifically because she once called it unflattering. The compliment confirms what Harper predicted. She's desperate. "How's work going? That big project in Seattle must be keeping you busy." Her eyes dart around the patio before landing back on me. "Your apartment must be close by? Is it a one-bedroom or studio?" "Work is going well," I answer, ignoring her fishing. She takes a sip of water, her lipstick leaving a perfect coral crescent on the glass. "This situation with my investments is just temporary, you understand, once I sort things out with the bank." Her voice trails off as she reaches across the table to pat my hand. After everything I've done for you, raising you alone after your father died, this is how you repay me? The words land like a slap, so familiar I almost flinch. Almost. Instead, I slide a printout across the table. This is Sunnyvale Senior Apartments. It's a studio with a kitchenette, community garden, and weekly social activities. Your Social Security covers most of it. I'll contribute $250 monthly to make up the difference. Her face freezes, lipstick-stained smile suspended in disbelief. I continue, my voice steady. I've already completed the application and paid the deposit. They have availability beginning next week. She pushes the paper back toward me, her coral nails scraping against the table. I don't need charity housing. I need my daughter's support. I'll help you, but you won't be living with me, and my support comes with conditions. A couple at the next table glances over as my mother's voice rises. Conditions? I'm your mother. Yes, you are. I reach into my purse and place the tattered silk scarf on the table between us, robin's egg blue. Now wrinkled from where I found it, stuffed between my running shoes and cleaning supplies in the garbage bag. Her eyes flicker with recognition, then dart away. My first condition is that you attend family therapy sessions with me, I say, watching her shoulders stiffen. Dr. Reynolds has openings on Tuesday afternoons. I don't need therapy. She looks around, voice rising higher. I need my daughter to show some gratitude. The couple next to us are openly watching now. I feel oddly calm, like I'm watching this scene from somewhere above the patio. I gather my things and stand. Then I wish you the best of luck, I say, turning to leave. Wait. Her voice cracks. Fine, I'll try a session or two. I pause, considering the threshold I'm about to cross. This isn't about vengeance or even justice. It's about finally understanding I can choose which relationships to maintain and on what terms. I return to my seat, not from obligation but choice. I slide the folder with the application toward her, terms outlined in yellow highlighter. There's a pen in the folder. Her hand shakes slightly as she signs where I've marked with small post-it flags. When she finishes, she looks up with narrowed eyes. Has Darren called you? The question catches me off guard. He mentioned wanting to talk, but we haven't connected yet. Why? She shakes her head. Nothing, just wondering. She tucks the signed agreement into her purse, her movements brittle. When do I move in? I'll help you this weekend, I say, calculating how much of my Sunday I'll need to sacrifice. The movers I hired will handle your furniture from storage. My phone vibrates in my pocket as I walk away from the cafe. My mother's still sitting at the table, staring at the senior living brochure. I pull it out, expecting a text from Harper, who's been waiting to hear how the meeting went. Instead, it's an email from Walter Chen, our CEO. Kendra, based on your exceptional work with the Seattle account, I'm pleased to offer you the position of digital marketing team lead, effective immediately. I stop mid-stride, pedestrians flowing around me like a river around a stone. For the first time in weeks, my smile feels completely unforced. I stand in the sunlit living room of my new condo, watching dust motes dance in golden beams that spill across hardwood floors. A year can change everything. The windows face east, the realtor explains, jotting notes on her clipboard. Morning person? I am now, I say, running my fingers along the windowsill. In my family home, my photographs were confined to my bedroom walls, hidden like secrets. Here, framed landscapes and portraits will greet the sunrise. The realtor pauses by my largest photograph, a windswept shoreline I captured last fall. Your work? When I nod, she smiles. Stunning composition. The mortgage terms we discussed earlier are competitive for Louisville. With your credit score and down payment, you're in excellent shape. I don't second-guess her assessment or apologize for my questions about property taxes. The woman who once shrank herself to fit into others' expectations has been replaced by someone who knows her worth. The afternoon sun shifts as I enter Dr. Reynolds' office for our family therapy session 1 year since our first appointment. My mother sits primly on the familiar blue couch, her posture still rigid but lacking its former hostility. Kendra's marketing campaign launched last week, she tells Dr. Reynolds, her voice carrying a respect I never thought I'd hear. The television spot played during the news. Dr. Reynolds smiles. That's wonderful, Kendra. How does it feel having your work recognized nationally? Before I can answer, my mother adds, her team doubled their client list this quarter. A year ago, I would have flinched at her hijacking the conversation. Today, I simply nod and add, the campaign connected with our target audience. We're seeing strong results. Dr. Reynolds notices the shift. In our private sessions, we've mapped my progress from desperate need for maternal approval to measured acceptance of what our relationship can realistically become. Not perfect, but no longer poisonous. Linda, what stands out most about Kendra's growth this year? Dr. Reynolds asks. My mother considers this, fingers smoothing invisible wrinkles from her slacks. She doesn't need me anymore, she says finally. And somehow that's made it easier to be proud of her. That evening, laughter fills my new home. Harper arranges a platter of cheese while Dr. Reynolds helps Darren hang string lights across the back patio. My brother looks younger somehow, 6 months of his own therapy softening the hard edges our mother cultivated. Harper raises her glass, her eyes bright with genuine joy. From garbage bags at the gate to this beautiful home all by your own strength. We clink glasses as my phone buzzes with an email notification. The director of marketing position I applied for last week. I'll read it later. Tonight belongs to celebration. After everyone leaves, I unwrap my final housewarming gift to myself. The framed photograph feels heavier than its physical weight deserves. 15 black garbage bags standing like sentinels at my mother's gate, captured on my phone that afternoon before I started loading my car. I hang it in my home office, where I'll see it daily, not as a reminder of betrayal, but as evidence of how far I've come. Below it sits a folder containing application forms for a small grant program I've created, funded from my promotion bonuses. Emergency housing deposits for young adults forced from their homes by family, no strings attached. As I hang that final photograph, I wonder if true healing comes from forgiveness or from building something new from the broken pieces. What matters more, making peace with the past or creating a future where those wounds no longer define you? The answer, perhaps, is in the question itself, the very fact that I can ask it without pain slicing through me. Sometimes the greatest freedom isn't forgetting the hurt, but transforming it into something that helps others find their way home.